Have you ever grabbed your camera to set up a shot and press record, but something about it just looks plain and boring? Like there's nothing cinematic about it at all, and it kind of just looks like your average home video. I know I've definitely had that problem before, so in this video I'm going to give you 5 things you can do to make a boring shot look cinematic. So the first thing you can do is to add depth to your shot in whatever way possible. Whether that means pulling your subject away from the background as much as possible if that's a wall, or putting something in between your camera and the subject so it'll be blurry in the foreground. For example, I have this shot right here which looks decently good. It looks like a fine shot, but then when I add the cabinet in the foreground, it just gives it a whole nother level of depth and helps the viewer feel how big the room actually is. It makes the video feel more immersive overall and definitely upgrades the overall look of the shot. But that's just the first tip. For the second one, I actually need to go outside. So this one is actually very important, but it's extremely easy, and it's just switching the angle a little bit. Right here, I just got this shot of me standing with the camera basically directly at my eye level. And then I got another shot where it was just a little bit, like it was lower down, more towards my waist, and pointing up at me. And as you can see, the difference between the shots, there's a big difference just because of the way it looks to the viewer. Just a simple change like that went such a long way, because when someone's watching a video, whatever angle they're at makes them feel a certain way. They either feel like the subject is important or not important. And in most cases, you want the subject to look very important. So now this is the fourth thing you can do, and it is actually to add people into your shots. You probably haven't even noticed, but throughout this whole video, I've had me as a person in the shot, even if I didn't have to at all. I just did because usually videos look cooler if there are people in them. Having people in a shot makes it feel so much more relatable to the viewer. Just try to find a way to add people in shots. And I know you can't always do that because you don't want to film yourself or you don't have other people with you, but if you can, just if you're filming something, like say you're filming a swing, then have someone sit on the swing while you film it. It just makes it a lot more realistic, I guess, and more relatable to the viewer. And if you pay attention from now on, you'll probably notice that shots and videos usually have people in them, even if they don't have to. Okay, so this next one is actually location. And what I mean by that is just having a little bit of a cool location so that way it gives the person watching something to look at. For my example right here, I actually just used a bench with a lookout to the water. And I know not everybody has access to stuff like that, but you definitely have access to more than you think you do. If you just go outside and try to find something a little bit more unique than usual and film there, it'll make the video just that much better. So the fifth and final thing I have in this video for you to do to make a boring shot look more cinematic is to add a little bit of color grading. And I know that probably sounded pretty scary to most of you, as it did to me when I didn't know anything about color grading, but it's actually really simple. Also, I can do it and I still barely know how to color grade at all. Just adding a bit of contrast or adding a little bit of orange to the highlights can go a long way when color grading boring footage. The last thing you want is for your video to just look really flat and kind of like gray all over. So take my short film I made about spring as an example. I took this shot right here during the time when the sun was going down, so it was more orange in real life than it looked on camera. Also, I was not shooting in log, just in case you're wondering. But the main thing I did to transform this shot is I just added a little bit of orange to the highlights. So all those sunbeams coming through the trees were actually a lot more orange now than they were before. And what's surprising is that's basically all I did to most of the shots in that short film. It doesn't have to take longer than 60 seconds, and basically anyone can do it in any editing software. Now, you don't have to use every single thing I mentioned in this video in all of your shots, but it would help a lot if you implemented at least one of these things into all of your videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.